Okay students, now we are going further. In this video we discuss four session, a scope of variable, second one is type conversion, wrapper class and the comments. The first thing is scope of variable. The Java allows variables to be declared within any blocks. A block is begun with an opening curly braces and ended by a closing curly braces. Okay, when we are using any if conditions or for loop conditions, then we are start from the curly braces on and the curly braces off. This curly braces is defined as a scope of particular variable. A block defines a scope, and thus each time you start a new block, you are creating a new scope. A scope determines which objects are visible to other parts of your program. Java defines two general categories of a scope. First one is a global and second one is a local. We can also define by this thing is a global variable as well as local variable. It is also defined the scope of particular this variable. The variables declared inside a scope is not visible to a code that is defined outside that scope. Right? It means if my variable is inside the if loop, then this variable scope is only for if loop. It is not defined, or if we use this variable outside this if loop, that generate an error. Thus, when you declare a variable within a scope, then you can access it within that scope only and protecting it from the unauthorized access. Here there is one example of scope of variable. The first thing is a class scope variable. Here the scope variable is a name of this class. Second thing is static integer x is equal to 10. Then scope variable. Here students, you can notice that the scope variable, the name of this function is same as the class name. There is no return data type in the this function, so it is a constructor. It is not a function, it is a special type of function that is known as constructor. It is called automatically when it create an object. Okay, then in that scope of variable constructor, the system.out.println x is equal to, then our x is 10. Here the answer of this line is x is equal to 10. Now public static void main integer x is equal to 20. Scope variable sv. We are creating one object of a scope variable, that is sv is equal to new scope variable. It means it is ultimately called the constructor of scope variable class, and then it print x is equal to 10. Right, here the output of this program is x is equal to 10. Now the system.out.println x is equal to plus x, but my x is equal to 20 in this void main, so my answer is 20, because the scope variable class has also one variable that name is x and the value of x is 10, but its scope is only for class variable, sorry, scope variable class. Okay, outside this class the x is destroyed because we cannot use x in outside that class. Then my output of this this program is, first line is this x is equal to 10 and second line is x is equal to 20. Second topic is the default variable initialization. Okay, when we create a variable, if we are not assigning any value in this variable, the default value it can be stored. If you are not assigning value, then the Java runtime assign the default value to variable, and when you try to access the variable, you get the default value of the variable. Here the boolean data type is there. The default value of the boolean data type is false. Character null, integer short byte is 0 and the long is represented by 0l. Float is represented by 0.0f and the double is represented by the 0.0d as the default value. Any reference type that will be stored null if they need any default value. Second topic is type conversion and the typecasting. It assigns a value of one type variable to a variable of the another type. If the two types are compatible, then the Java will perform the conversion automatically. Okay, what do you mean by the compatible? We will see in the next slide. For example, it is always possible to assign an integer value into the long variable. There are mainly two types, implicit type conversion and explicit type conversion. The first thing is implicit type conversion. When one type of data is assigned to another type of variable, an automatic type conversion will take place if the following two conditions are met. The first one is two types are compatible, and the second one is a destination type is larger than the source type. It means your data, it means your variable is lower and your destination variable or destination data type is higher than your source data type. It means, for example, integer type is always larger enough to hold all variable bytes value, so no need explicit cast statement is required. There is one that is a table that shows the compatible numeric data type. Here the integer floating point are the compatible and the character and the boolean are not compatible with each other. Right? It means what? Okay, if my data in a integer and I want to byte data into the integer, that will be directly converted into the integer data, because source data type is a lower and the destination data type is a higher. If I want to convert integer to floating, no need to type, no need any force to convert those data types. It is automatically convert this data type. Second one is explicit type conversion. Although the atomic type conversions are helpful, they will not fulfill all needs. For example, if you want to assign integer value to a byte variable, then the conversion will not be performed automatically, because a byte is smaller than an integer, right? When the destination data type is a smaller and the source data type is a higher, then you have to use explicit type conversion. Sometimes it is called the narrowing conversion. For this type of conversion, we need to make the value narrowing explicitly so that it will fit into the target data type. Here there is one example of it. To create a conversion between two compatible types, you must use a cast. Cast means your data type. The cast is simply an explicit type conversion. The syntax of this explicit type conversion is target type, means your data types, and then value. Here there is one example of it, integer a, byte b, right? Integer is higher than byte, right? Now I convert a into the b, then I have to write in a bracket byte, right? Why? The byte is denoted it is an integer, and we are forcefully converting this integer into the byte. Here there is one example of this explicit data type. First one is the class demo version demo, static void main. Here I take three variables, byte b, integer I, and double d. I put the value I is equal to 257 and d is equal to 323.142. Here the system.out.println conversion of into the byte, conversion of integer to byte, right? So that line should be printed in my output, conversion of integer to byte. And then the I is means my integer is 257 and the byte is b. Now integer number is converted into the byte, I have to write in bracket byte, right? That is my destination data type or a target data type, right? So yeah, we can write byte in front of I and then it will be stored into the b. Now my b is 257, it is an integer value, it is converted into the byte, and the value will be stored in a byte in a b. System.out.println I and b is equal to I, the I is 257, right? It is already mentioned here, and b is 257, it converted into the byte and the number is 1. Okay, next thing is system.out.println conversion of double to integer. Here d is double, that value is 323.142. If I convert double into the integer, I use explicit conversion. So I have to write, integer in front of d, right? And that will be stored into the I. Now the system.out.println d and I, so that will be right here d and I. Then d means 323.142, that will be shown here 323.142, and then I, now my I is integer, the value is double, that is truncated, then my value of I is only 323 because it is a whole number. The system.out.println conversion of double to byte, the d is equal to byte d, my d is equal to double, I converted into the byte, so my value is in a byte, that will be shown here, the d and the b is 323.142 and 67. This is done by the explicit conversion. I am not given the example of implicit conversion because it is directly change smaller to higher data types. The another concept of this Java programming is a wrapper class. In a wrapper class, wrap around a data types and give it an object appearance. Right? The wrapper class are used to convert any data type into the object. Means we have 8 primitive data types and we have 8 wrapper classes. The primitive data types are not object and they do not belong to any class, because the primitive data types are only the data types. We cannot belong to any class. So sometimes it required to convert data types into the object in Java. Then the wrapper class include the method to unwrap the object and give back to the data types. Means the wrapper class is given to the primitive data type for the class class purpose or as well as the data purpose. Here one example of the wrapper class is integer k is equal to 100. If I want to use integer k is equal to 100, k is a variable, which data type? Integer, and I put 100 value into the k. Here integer, right, that is my integer class, that is also known as wrapper class, and the first letter of integer class must be capital. Right, the integer it1 is equal to new integer of k, yani k value will be converted into the object it1. Okay, here the explanation of these two line is the integer data type k is converted into an object it1 using the integer class. The it1 object can be used whenever k is required, and the object to unwrap, yani ke getting back integer from integer object, the object it1. Next topic is comments. We use comments in C, C++. Same concept is in a Java programming. The comments are the statements which are never execute, is non-executable statements. Comments are often used to add notes between the source code so that it becomes easy to understand and explain the functions or operation of the corresponding part of source code. Java compiler doesn't read comments. Comments are simply ignored during the compilation time. There are 3 types of comment available in a Java as follows: single line comment, multi-line comment, and the documentation comments. Okay, the first one is a single line comment. This comment is used whenever we need to write anything in a single line. Right, there is double slash is there and write comment here. There is one example of it. This is a single line comment. If I use 2 slash in front of this, it is a comment and it is not a part of the program. It is non-executable part of the program. That is a multi-line comment. If I use the multiple line in a comment, then I have to use slash, then star and slash. That is the ending of this comment and that is the starting of the comments. These types of comments are used whenever we want to write detailed notes more than one line or in a multiple lines related to a source code. For example, this is a multiple line comment. If I want to use these things in a multiple line comment, then I have to put slash star in front of this and ending with star slash. Next thing is a Java documentation comment. Java documentation comment is used to create documentations. To comment begin with slash, then double star and end with star and slash. Documentation comments allow us to embed information about our program into the program itself. There are many tags are given here in a documentation comment. The first one is @author, @version, @parameter, and @return. Okay, that is the comments we use to represent our document in this program.